What's up, Internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. I want to remind you that this Mojave was built for the desert and jumps, not for rock clawing like the Rubicon. So I looked high and low to find somebody to help me shoot this video. And guess what? We found him. All right, guys, so here we are in Mark Freeman 408's compound. Over 300 cars have been destroyed right on this soil. Not this soil, but the whole compound soil. Mark, thank you very much, because we've got the Jeep Gladiator desert rated, and obviously it's almost wintertime up here in Canada, so we can find desert. This is the closest thing we could find, so thank you for having us. If you haven't already followed Mark Freeman 408, and we're gonna jump this thing 4 feet.
4 feet. We'll try.
Whole new level.
A little faster, probably landing on the downslope. Faster. That's what we said. I'm just a bad influence. Don't convince anyone to do anything.
Commitment.
Winching her off. I'm thoroughly impressed. I think I'm a Jeep fan now.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not like Jeeps before.
The first car they gave me was a Jeep Cherokee. I'm like, this thing is so weak. And this is the second car they gave me, and I'm like, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, my girlfriend wants to buy one. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
But
Yeah, and now I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll trade the Ford in. Maybe I'll trade the old Platinum in.
All right, so this is our first collab ever, and one of the things that drive me crazy is getting vehicles, or what I like to call garage queens, that you can't drive where they're supposed to be driven. You see, this Gladiator Mojave was built and designed in the Mojave Desert on jumps, and the only way to figure out if that's true is to take it on jumps. So what better YouTuber out there to do that with than Mark Freeman? You see, one of the key characteristics about this Mojave is the 2.5-inch Fox shocks with external reservoirs. And what that's designed to do is designed to take abuse. Now, what you guys will see with your human eye might think I'm abusing the vehicle, but it's exactly what the engineers want us to do. And this is the second vehicle we got from FCA, and this might be our last. Most people buy these things for Instagram posts, but for me, it's about driving and experiencing it, and Mark Freeman's compound was the place to be. Jeep's the only thing out there that have fully removable doors, and they have really become the toys of the wealthy. You see, Jeeps are popping up on Instagram feeds everywhere, but they're only popping up as pretty pictures and not muddy vehicles. And in typical FCA style, they offer 8 variants in the US and 7 variants in Canada. In the States, they range anywhere from 33 all the way to 51, and in Canada, they range from 45 to about 70, which is what this is. Now, when you go online to shop for one, it will drive you crazy because there are so many variants available. If you want a manual transmission, you cannot get it in certain models. And if you want a diesel, which they offer in the 2021, you cannot get it in certain versions in a manual. or at all. And one of the biggest knocks is the motor. You see, the motor is a 3.6 liter Pentastar motor that makes 285 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. And that, to me, isn't enough power on paper until I drove it and realized it's plenty, but not in the street. To make it even more confusing, if you have a trailer, you can only pull 4,000 pounds with the first 5 models and 4,500 pounds with the next 3 models. Except that's only in manual. In automatic, you can pull more. You see, a bit confusing. Jeep Gladiators are really in a class of their own, only because they are too small to be a full size and too big to be a mid-size. I think they're really just designed for Jeep owners that want a flatbed in the back. So the color Gobi comes from the desert Gobi, and the word Mojave actually comes from the indigenous people, and that means beside the water. And for all you gamers out there, you guys probably know the Mojave from the game Fallout New Vegas. You see, engineers at Chrysler beefed up everything about this vehicle. They beefed up the frame, they beefed up the axles, which is the solid axles they've had since 1940. They've also beefed up the suspension, but they've lightened up the sway bars to make it soft and cushy. That's why when you look online and you read the reviews, this is what people complain about. Being all over the road. Now, if you've been watching your feeds lately, you would see that Jeep is coming out with the Rubicon 392 that makes 400 and something horsepower, but that's from a Hemi, and finally we get a Hemi in this thing. Or maybe we don't, because it's only available in Rubicon, but they are actually putting some testers in here, like this hood. This hood has a raised cowl, and it also has venting in the front. Now, there are only 2 pickups in the world you can get a manual transmission. One, and the second is the Tacoma. So come check out the side of this truck. This thing is nice and long. And when it's long, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Everyone in the back.
Right.
That's true.
We're doing the back now?
We're out. Wow.
Beauty.
Thanks, boys.
So along with the 17-inch wheels and the 33-inch tire, you've got Fox shocks. You can't see them because they're filthy. Front and back, they have the dampeners, as I mentioned. On the side, it is nice and long, but there are skid plates all along the bottom, so don't worry, it's safe. There are 6 tops available in the Jeep Gladiator, 6 of them. This is how crazy the variants have become. And for all you Instagram influencers, this is why you buy it. You can fit an 8x8 IKEA kitchen right in the back of this, and here's proof. So there's not a ton of payload at 1,200 pounds, but it does have easy access to the back. You just kind of push this up, and it rolls over and folds over pretty easy. You just pull this little red tab here, it unclips it, and it spins open. So pretty straightforward, nothing crazy. I like the fact that it does roll, it's easy. As I said, the IKEA kitchen was a breeze. Just loaded it all in, put this back, and pretty straightforward. It even has a soft opening. And as I mentioned, the manual transmission can tow anywhere from 4,000 to 4,500 depending on the type of vehicle you get. But in automatic, you can tow 6,000 pounds. All right, so I'm in the Jeep Gladiator now, and it's got start and stop, as well as it's got hill hold. So when I'm sitting at the top of a hill and I want to take off here, good time, winter time. It snowed today, and so this has 410 gears, and what that essentially means is that it's got higher torque, it's faster off the line, but it is worse on fuel economy, and it has a lower top speed. So there's a lot of things online about not having enough power, and because the gears are so long, it doesn't really feel like it has all that power, and people are used to 6 or 7 speeds. Now, I'm in 4th gear, foot to the ground, and it's just not exactly thrilling. But for most people that buy this car, they're going to be in the burbs, and it's going to be stop sign to stop sign, or small block to small block, and streets that are tighter, so it's going to feel fast enough. But 285 horsepower and 4,500 pounds can only take you so fast. So 8.8 seconds from 0 to 60 doesn't exactly throw you back in your seat. But with the manual transmission, it does feel a lot more engaging. And from what I gather, the automatic is faster in terms of shifting and how it feels. So most people opt for the automatic. Me, I'm a manual guy. I like driving. This stability program lets you push it a little bit to the edge. And I am in rear-wheel drive, so let's see how it is to shift on the fly. All right, so let's do 60 kilometers an hour or 40 miles and go from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, clutch it, and let's put it in 4-wheel drive, and very easy. Now I'm in 4-wheel drive. So here I see where the complaints are coming from. It's probably in third gear, because third gear, around 3,500 RPM, you pin it, just doesn't go. That's because you have open roads. People's expectations are speed, but this is not designed for speed. This is designed for jumps. So I'm in third gear, 2,500 RPM, which is where most cars would sit, and foot to the ground, and it's just not throwing you back in your seat. But that's only because you're driving in open roads. You see, when you're in the suburbs, smaller blocks, it doesn't feel as slow because everything's smaller, and because you're higher off the ground, it doesn't feel as fast. So that's no fault of Jeep's. That's a fault of yours, because you know it only had 285 horsepower when you bought it. So I got a glove on, and the main reason being is that most vehicles don't work, or most touchscreens don't work with a glove, but this one does. This Uconnect is super easy to use. One odd thing I did find though is when you click the apps button, it's basically like quick buttons, and it has something called rear mirror dimmer, and you hit it and it dims automatically. You see, there's no back and forth or click button here. It's in the actual Uconnect, which is Jeep's version of their infotainment, and it's similar to my Ram, and it has all the buttons in the back of the steering wheel. Super easy to use. I'm really familiar with it. And the one cool part this does have is it has quality. You see, because when you hit the screen, it doesn't actually give this flare or this back push when you touch it. It's clean. It doesn't show your fingerprint push on an LCD screen, you know, like when you take your hand on your TV and you push it. Yeah, it doesn't do that. Quality. All right, so let's pop the top. Oh, hello. Hello, snow. Pop the top and we got snow. This is why people love Jeeps. You see, it's a lifestyle game. If you don't believe me, look at other Jeeps waving at each other. They all love each other like motorbikes. It's just a cult and people love it. Now I see why. This video was here to prove to me that this thing is legit. So the main reason this video is to prove that this is a legitimate jumper like Jeep intended it to be, and they built it for that reason. You see, people spend tens of thousands of dollars just to make their Jeep be able to jump. But this does it from factory with warranty. Now, I know what you're thinking, if you do crazy jumps, you won't get warranty, and totally, I understand that. But this video is proof that you can jump a Jeep and it still holds up as strong as they say it does. Amazing. I'm actually shocked that this thing did not break. What about you? Let me know in the comments below. So, did you know there's sandals on the front of that hood? There's like a picture of sandals. Really? And that's because most people that buy these cars are girls. And Ian's going to B-roll the sandals as we speak about this.
When you said you were going to jump it, I was not expecting that, and I am impressed. Like, it didn't bottom out. I was not.
It did not bottom out.
I haven't liked Jeeps my whole life, but now I think I'm starting to like them.
A little bit more, a little bit more.
And especially through the mud and climbing the hills.
I know, man. When I was taking that jump, I told you it was in a 10-second Mustang, and I was like looking at the sky, and it was like
But even when you land, like, it feels soft.
It's buttery, yeah.
Like it's with
yeah.
the Fox
And that's why I want to do this track, because this track is not like for crawlers, right? It's like for
this
softness.
Is a dirt bike track.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so the Jeep Gladiator Mojave did a dirt bike track, and it was smooth. It was butter, and
that might be the first Jeep Gladiator that's caught air before.
Or the one that hasn't been actually totaled or smashed. So yeah. And if you look in this compound, you'll see lots of cars that are total smashed, like that bus back there. All right, guys. So if you guys haven't already followed him, Mark Freeman, 408, hit him up, hit us up, and as always, please consider subscribing.